My friends over at Hidden Path asked me what I thought about Defense Grid and if I'd like to see more, and the answer is hell yeah. Defense Grid is like one of the greatest tower defense games ever made. So let's help them out. Let's get more Defense Grid. More Defense Grid.
I want more Defense Grid. Give me more Defense Grid.
I want more Defense Grid.
I want more Defense Grid.
I've heard that Hidden Path is going to do a new Defense Grid game. I guess they put it on Kickstarter, and I'm a big fan of number one, so please support number two because I'm dying to play it.
Please won't you give me just a little more Defense Grid?
I want more Defense Grid.
I woke up cold and alone, and I realized it's because I had no more Defense Grid. So please help.
It's more like I need my Defense Grid. It's not that I want it. I gotta have it. There will be repercussions if I don't have it. I need it. I want it.
We started Hidden Path so we could make games we're passionate about. 5 years ago, we started playing tower defense games, and while we loved them, we couldn't find the balance and polish we were looking for, so we set out to build a definitive tower defense game, and Defense Grid was born. We wanted to make a game that looked great, was fun for all players, but also had the depth that the core players were looking for.
It was a success, even beyond what we had hoped. We see the passion in the community that matches our own, and we want to make a Defense Grid sequel that brings in all the features that we didn't have time or money to before. Defense Grid is a high-quality game, has lots of great fans, and everyone we talk to agrees 2 is going to sell well. But publishers these days only want to spend their effort on projects that are larger, and this one is too small for them to care. That's when our eyes were opened up by Kickstarter. We're seeing players fund compelling games if they want to play them.
No one on Kickstarter talks about sales forecasts or revenue projections or any of the things that we typically have to present. You talk about the games you want to play, the experience you're going to have, and the features you really love. Exactly what every game developer wants to focus on. With your help, we can actually build an amazing Defense Grid sequel and, along the way, bring you into the development process too.
We wanted to make Defense Grid the best tower defense game that anybody had ever seen. And so we did several things. We added in a story that didn't make you wait for long dialogue. We added in power cores, which gave you something to protect, but then if you lost them, you had a chance to recover them and bring them back. And if you did make a mistake, we allowed you to rewind and change your strategy instantly as many times as you want with no load times.
We wanted the game to be much more immersive than any previous tower defense game. So we went full 3D and created levels with depth and height. We made recognizable towers that deployed as you built them, and aliens that had personality in their movements. We gave you visual cues that let you easily distinguish each of your tower types and the upgrades. We added damage, we added smoke as you took the aliens out, and advanced weapons and explosion effects to bring the conflict alive.
Hi, I'm Jim Ward, and I play Fletcher in Defense Grid. We've defended our home. Now it's time to reclaim our future. The aliens won't stop, and neither will we. Let's do this!
In Defense Grid 2, Fletcher's back, and it turns out the invasion from the first game is just a small part of a much larger story. Events have been unfolding across the galaxy, and you'll be introduced to new characters, new conflicts, and new enemies. And as a thank you to Kickstarter, we'll release the first part of the DG2 story as an expansion to the original game, so you can play it while we finish.
We've upgraded our engine and have a lot of ideas for the game. Better graphics, multiplayer modes, a level editor, levels that change over the course of a map, or item upgrades which actually let you customize the way you play the game. For instance, you might have an item that makes your laser towers do extra damage, or an item that turns off juggling but lets you post to special leaderboards.
On the new engine, we can really expand the art style of Defense Grid. DG2 takes you to new planets and new locations, featuring different architecture and unique environments. You'll face new enemies and have new tower technologies at your disposal to repel them. You'll find some of our early concept art on the Kickstarter page, but we'll have a lot more to show as our progress unfolds.
If Defense Grid looks fun, help us make more. We know it's a lot to ask, but it'll be worth it. You can be involved as much as you'd like. Send us your ideas, or just get updates as we progress. We're building Defense Grid 2 slowly on our own, and every dollar raised helps us get there much faster. We know $1 million is expensive, so we've come up with a roadmap that gets you new Defense Grid content every time we cross a funding milestone. Each pledge gets us closer to DG2.
We'll start today by giving you a copy of the original game just for pledging. If Kickstarter hits the minimum funding level of $250,000, we'll build the first part of that DG2 story Mark mentioned called Defense Grid Containment. At $500,000, we've finished the DG2 engine, and we can release the first multiplayer mode ever for Defense Grid, along with the original content on the new engine.
At $750,000, we release a level editor so players can make their own levels and everyone can play them. We can also release all content to date on Mac and Linux and add new cheat protection to the leaderboards. At $1 million, we release DG2, the full Defense Grid sequel we're so passionate about. Because of Kickstarter, you can take this journey with us, and we couldn't be more excited about the possibility. Let's make more Defense Grid together.
Let's make more Defense Grid.
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 What's a Defense Grid?